Hey, what's going on? I'm Kalo. I recently completed the Moab 240-mile endurance run, and I'd like to I'm making a video right now to kind of just relay for myself and for anybody that's kind of wants to know more about Moab, kind of like what the race was like, and do a video race report. So, so I guess I'll start by explaining some of like my training. I didn't put in as many miles as I would like. I think at one point I was averaging about 70, 80 a week for about 4 weeks before, and then there was one week where I was doing, or a couple weeks where I was doing a marathon every other day to prepare. So I felt like that was the bulk of the training, but before the race, I think if you average the 8 weeks beforehand, I probably put in about 55 miles a week, um, because some of those weeks where I could only get in like 40 miles for certain weeks, or I only got in 40 miles for certain weeks. I think I could have gotten more, but at that time I only got in 40. Um, so average about 60, 65, 70 miles a week, something around there. Um, so coming in, I felt pretty good. I'm about 200 pounds, so like I'm pretty big for a runner. So I knew that I needed to be and I'm also pretty young, so I'm not as experienced. So I knew that I needed to be extremely prepared in terms of like what I'm gonna do, my drop bags and everything, because I knew that I didn't have the experience to just know what to do off the top of my head. So I'd have to plan it all out beforehand and plan out for all the different things that could have gone right or wrong. Um, so I think I did a lot of preparation work that was helpful. Probably not as much as some people, but certainly good amount of hours put in. Yeah, so that's kind of like my preparation. I tried to do a little bit of like a ketogenic style diet, but however, I found as the miles increased, um, I did need some more carbs after the longer runs. So I was definitely not in a state of ketosis. I was probably in like, I just ate like quinoa and like salads and whatnot, stuff like that. And yeah, so the night before the race, I got there, and as soon as I got off the plane, I felt the air. I could feel the fact that there was like less oxygen in the air immediately. So immediately when I got there, I'm like, oh, oh snap! Like I can feel it, the dry air, very dry air, the whole time too. And kind of high altitude relative to New York City. So 4,000 feet doesn't sound like much in altitude, but when you're always in New York City, it's so flat and so low in elevation that you could really sense it. And I think the biggest probably the biggest mistake of the race actually was before the actual race, because I didn't bring an extra sleeping bag. So I put the clothes that I was going to wear to kind of sleep in, I put them in the drop bags. So what that means is that that night I was sleeping straight on the flat tent. It was kind of a little rainy that night too, but on the ground, and I didn't really get too much good sleep. I got about 2 hours of sleep. I couldn't really sleep very well. Um, yeah, that was unfortunate, but uh, at the end of the day, I don't think a lot of people got that much sleep that night. And plus, I think that I got a lot of, oh, actually, I know that I got a lot of sleep the night before. I got like 8 or 9 hours of sleep that, let's see, that Wednesday night, because the race started Friday morning. So yeah, so race morning was pretty good. I saw a lot of people that I recognized from like online, and just met a lot of cool people, the night before and race day and everything. I had all my drop bags. I felt prepared with the drop bags, which really made me feel confident, even though I didn't have the most amount of running experience, ultra running experience. And yeah, so the first section, 0 miles to 17.8, or 0 miles to 9 miles actually was the first one, like 9 point something miles. I think I remember I got to the aid station and I think I was averaging like 4.5 or 5 miles an hour. And I was like, oh wow, I'm going too fast because there's no way I can keep that up. So I knew right there, okay, I need to not slow down a lot, but just be very, very, very cognizant of how fast I'm going. The first 3 miles was on pavement, and then you kind of go into these like winding cliffs. You kind of wind along the edges. Talk to some people, and it's race day. Everybody's excited. Everybody's going for it. Um, you can hear people shouting like "Arr! Arr!" like just like random stuff. Like, Moab 240 baby, woo! Like crazy, crazy stuff. It was pretty wild. Um, that was interesting. So I got there. The aid station volunteers were super nice, as they pretty much always are. Um, and I think I ate some sandwiches or something like that, and kept going. That was the first section, pretty easy. I actually ran the race probably 2.5 weeks ago. I knew I had to record this tonight because if I didn't, I'd probably forget everything that happened. But so the next section was also not too bad. It was some cliffs and it almost looked like you're on Mars. Like the scenery was just so beautiful. You go out on these rocks and it's just amazing. Kind of just humbles you. Like, wow, I'm out here. I'm running 240 miles, but uh, damn, like soak it all in right now before I get too tired. Because when I get too tired, man, I'm probably not going to be having too much of a fun time. So I better soak it in while I can. Um, so I kept going. A lot of photos by the photographers. Got to the first aid station with a drop bag. It took me longer than I expected. It took me about 20 minutes of time or a little bit over 20 minutes, probably closer 25, 30 minutes just to get all my stuff, do all the routines that I was going to do when I got to that aid station. It took me about 25 minutes to do. And I knew that later in the race would probably take me longer. But actually, I would say average, it took me about the same for at least the first half of the race, just because I was I knew what I had to do next time, so it wasn't too much of a surprise. But I changed my socks up. It was pretty hot, and my feet actually for the first probably 80 miles of the race, my feet had plantar fasciitis. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's an excruciatingly painful foot condition, some kind of like muscle strain or something. But it's not good at all. It's very bad. So I was really, really worried about that because it was getting pretty painful. But luckily I put on some magnesium lotion and it was good. So mile 17.5, you keep going. There's some beautiful going along. Like I'm pretty sure, yeah, the Colorado River. That's what it was, the Colorado River. You go along the Colorado River. It's really nice and just spectacular. You can see the Canyonlands National Park. You can see that, and you get to talk to some runners. I got to talk to some people, Vivian, a guy named Adam, and just kind of enjoy. And the next aid station was at mile 30. Let me think. 17.5 plus 15, 32 and a half. And about halfway through, there's a descent. And you start to get into the real desert area. It's hot during the day. And there's a kind of like descent, steep descent. I have a picture on Facebook. I'm running next to a cliff. And so me and, 4 runners accidentally went up the cliff instead of down the cliff. So uh, we were running along this cliff on the top of it. Like, wow, these cliffs are pretty fucking steep here. Like, I don't know what's going on. This isn't a good idea. Um, that was kind of the thoughts I was having, but I was like, oh, maybe it's just part of the race or something. And I noticed a lot of X game people, a lot of people riding those mountain bikes and kind of rednecks, or I don't know what you'd say, just people enjoying themselves, having fun. And I noticed a lot of them were riding their bikes, and I didn't see too many runners. So eventually I got to the top of this kind of like hill, mountain thing, butte, as they say, and checked my GPS, and we were way off course. So me and 4 runners had to turn back, and by the time we got back, I guess like there was only a few runners behind us. The sweepers were kind of close by, so that was a close call. If we would have gone further, we could have just failed right then. 4 runners out. that would have been a real bummer. That's a lot of money and time and effort put and preparation thrown down the drain. So luckily we made it out. As I was going down the cliff, I twisted my hip, and I thought that I had fractured it. I didn't. I don't think I did, but it was hurting pretty bad. It was kind of aching for the next 40 miles or so, and um, you get to the bottom of the cliff, and there's this long flat stretch of like very exposed territory, um, and it's pretty hot, and I was running out of water. But eventually, after a while, I got to the aid station, hydrated up, mile 32, uh, and then just kind of kept going. So yeah, I iced my feet up and took some food. The next section, you get 24 miles. You have 24 miles to go. It's the longest stretch in the race between aid stations. And started headed out. It's heading out. So 37 to about 57, or 32 to about 57 miles. That's the next aid station. Kept going. It was kind of like cliffs, more cliffs, and kind of like jagged rock formations. You kind of go wind around this mountain. And I remember I'd gotten about 5 miles into that. It was getting dark. I put on my headlamp, and I was feeling really woozy, like really out of it. And I wasn't sure what was going on. I tried everything. I figured just cycle through everything, try to get some water in, maybe adjust some things, or try to put some take electrolytes, take more of those. And I finally figured out it was electrolytes. So I was hanging with my buddy Charles. I took a bunch of Tailwind, drank a bunch of Tailwind, and that helped. That's like electrolytes. Get in sodium, a lot of sodium, a little bit of caffeine. Um, so drink a bunch of that per recommendation of Charles, and that really helped. That helped a lot. So me, Charles, and a lady named Vivian, we were going about pretty much the whole rest of the way together, except for the end. In the dark, listening to music, just walking with the stars. I was dog tired then too, because I only got 2 hours of sleep, so I was still like I was pretty exhausted. Eventually, well, there was one point where they had stopped. Sometimes I would stop and they would go ahead. Sometimes they would stop, I would go ahead. And I remember, I guess, so they moved the course because it was snow. So it was actually 238-mile run, but they changed it because there was snow on the mountains. That's too much. You can't go through it. So basically, they made it 243 miles. So they extended it and they changed around a little bit of the aid stations and stuff. So on the map that I had, I was on the right path, and it said I was at the aid station, but unfortunately, it wasn't. It wasn't there. It was actually an additional like 3 to 5 miles. So that kind of freaked me out. I was like, "Yo, maybe I just missed this. Maybe I just went 24 miles. Maybe I went past it, and now I'm gonna have to wait. I have to keep going and keep going another 16 miles before I get food or water." So that kind of sucked. But actually, it was on the course. I got there. I think it was late at night, maybe like 10 at night, 11 at night, something like that. 57 miles. A lot of people conked out, sleeping, and it was kind of cold. This was actually, the volunteers are all nice, but I think that there was just a lot of people there at that time. So that was probably my least favorite aid station, just because there was so many people and it was kind of cold. But there was a lot of people, so it was kind of hard to find a spot and get food and everything. So I got up. Oh, I'd taken a caffeine pill, keep myself up. So that was kind of interesting. So 57 miles in, started heading out, and I ran into some guy. His name's Keith. Dude went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks. He completed 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks. Like, man, this guy's a savage. All right, let's go, man. Let's do it. And so me and him ran the next 16 or so miles, or whatever it was, going down this hill. we went down the huge hill in the beginning, but um, we didn't know it. We were like looking for it on the map, like where's the hill at? Where's the hill? But actually, we went down at the first thing at the aid station because the maps were kind of different from the course maps because of the because they extended the course. Some of the maps they're still the right place, but the checkpoints, the distances were off. Um, so we were going for pretty while. We were trying to find this freaking water station, man. And I learned something really important is then to try to not check your GPX, which is the tracking device, your map. Because once you start looking at your map, man, it's like now you're looking at, oh, what time is it? Oh, how far have I gone? How far have I gone? Like you're just missing out on the experience. I remember we did that. I was like, all right, from now on, I'm putting this thing in my bag because uh, I can't do that. This is insane. I don't want to be checking on the whole time. It's kind of gets to your head. So eventually it was daylight again. So day one, it's been 24 hours. We got about 70 something miles in. I was starting to hallucinate. So was Keith, a little bit, not too bad, but just kind of seeing people like like the rocks were kind of morphing, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful rocks. It was amazing, but they were kind of morphing, like turning into people. Oh, that person back there. Um, so it was fun hanging out. It's good to walk with someone and run with someone. Just be next to somebody, like talk to them and stuff. Kind of lets the time go, especially at night because it's 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of nighttime. It's pretty cold at night because it's the desert. So did that, 77 miles, something like that. Slept for 2 hours, ate some food, good aid station, fantastic aid station, and then kept going. It was part of it was on the road, and this part was fucking hot. Oh my word. I don't know if it was just me and my plantar fasciitis. This is where it got the worst it was in the whole race. Because I was walking on that and going down that pavement and hammering down these. That part it was just hot. It wasn't the hardest part of the race, but it was very. I thought it was pretty hot, and I should have been more hydrated. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe it was just hot. Maybe it was just unavoidable. Eventually, you actually go through this like muddy stream area. So you go off the road, beautiful buttes, and then go through kind of like this foresty, shrubby desert area. And it's very exposed to keep going, and you get to this place called the Island, about mile 86, or let's see, 82. Wait, 87, mile 87. And a lady had helped me out with icing my feet, and got this thing where I could roll my foot on it, so the plantar fasciitis would go away. So it initially, when I got up, it got worse, but like within 5 minutes it was gone, and it didn't bother me like the rest of the race. So thankfully she helped out, and the medic checked it out. Because if she didn't, I probably would just, I don't know, man. I think I would have kept going, and that shit can get out of hand. If you get plantar fasciitis, it gets out of hand, it's game over. So that was a great aid station. I remember I was getting pretty physically tired then, but trucking along, wasn't too bad. Uh, Kept going. Now I was getting into the second night. I was running with my friend. Her name's Kelsey. She was also 21. She's doing the race. So we were the two youngest people doing it. Um, and I remember, like, I was getting some weird hallucinations. Have you ever? Some of you've probably seen the movie The Hills Have Eyes. Well, I was kind of seeing some weird. It was like some weird. I don't know. It wasn't too bad. The first couple days, it's not terrible hallucinations, but I thought they were interesting. I'm like, oh yeah. And the thing about these ones is like at least day one, day two, you know they're hallucinations. Like, oh, it looks like an alien rock or something like that. Like, oh, you know it's a hallucination. So it's like you see it and you see, oh, it looks morphy, but you know it. You know it's not real. So it's not like terrible, but it was interesting, more interesting than I would say, like, whoa, freaky hallucination. So kept going, kept going. It started getting dark. You're going up. It's like a slow incline, up, going up. I remember at one point I was looking over this freaking cliff. I'm like, damn, yo, Candace is gonna somebody's gonna fall off this thing, man. This thing's freaking huge, dude. Like somebody's not gonna make it out. Whoa, it's a big cliff. It's like, whoops, like you're not making it off of that one. But so running next to these couple cliffs, and eventually, finally, I remember I kept thinking I was seeing the mountain, but it was actually just a bunch of clouds because there's a mountain halfway through called Shay Mountain. I kept thinking I was seeing it, but in reality, I wasn't seeing it. It was just some clouds, but there was some thunder and lightning, like real thunder and lightning. That was kind of freaking me out a little bit, but thankfully, it actually was hitting behind us. The rain was hitting behind us at the other aid station. So I go to the aid station, mile 102, and my buddy and executive director, Michael Cipoletti, he was there. He's the guy that was part of the charity. He runs the charity. He's the director of the charity that I ran for, F&E International, Homes for Nicaragua. And it was just fantastic because I've been communicating with this guy on video and on the phone and in meetings and stuff, but it was another thing for him to be out there on the course with me. So we flew out, and that was great. That motivated me right there. Like, hey man, this guy showed up. Like, this dude could be doing anything. He could be flying on. This dude probably has the most flights I've ever met, seen somebody do. Like, or what's the phrase? This guy has a crazy flight schedule, just schedule in general, and he just made the time to come out, support the race, and he actually ended up running 18 miles with me. But that's actually the next section. So I was 102 miles, and the last previous section I had been stumbling. I think I was pretty sleep deprived or something, and I've been stumbling against these rocks, and my foot was killing me. I thought it. Oh, I'm gonna plug in my computer real quick. But yeah, so sat next to the fire, got up, started going, 102 miles in, and this section was a 20-mile section with a mountain in there. So I was pretty freaking beat up. This was probably, I would say, besides the very last, and this is probably the third hardest section for me personally, because there's a lot of climbing, and you climb up this mountain, and basically it kind of goes like this. So you climb up, and then you go shh, and then you go down, and then you go up again. So basically, like you think you're going, and when I'm going like this is like thousands of feet. So like you're climbing up like a lot of feet, and you're climbing. You constantly. I thought I was at the top, and then when I thought I was at the top, that's when the climb starts. That's when the steepest part goes. My nose was bleeding because the altitude. It was getting around 8,000 feet. Second night, yeah, it was pretty. I'd gotten lost. I climbed up the wrong cliff again, so that was the second time getting lost. And I had to get. That took me like 15 minutes to get back on track. That freaked me out pretty hardcore. There's all kinds of, because you weave in through these shrubs and trees and whatnot, and then you go up this mountain. And when I was weaving in, I went up the wrong cliff before you even started to climb. And then I went down, and I went back up the right one. And then, so that took some time, not too bad, and then you start the real climb. And then you go down about like halfway, and then you go back up again, and that's where the aid station is. I remember at one point, I was literally taking one step at a time. Like, I could not freaking breathe. Like, that altitude, 8,000 feet. I've never been above 5,000 feet in my entire life. Like, I climbed a mountain once, it was 5,600 feet. So I was up 8,000, and it was like every single step, like, just, yeah, that sucked. Yeah, but eventually got through it, and then took a nap at the next aid station. I put a photo online. Oh yeah, it's a halfway mark. It's 121 miles in. So mile 121, just finished half of it. That was great. So 2-hour nap really helped out. And then Michael came to run with me. The director of FE International, he came to run with me for the next 18 or so miles, which was all downhill. So he ran with me the next 18-mile stretch. So we're leaving the aid station, mile 121, and we went through kind of like, go down a little bit of road, but then you go on the trail again, and then it's pretty even terrain. I would say this section's actually, it was long, but it was relatively easy. This was a pretty easy section actually. Mile 121 to 100, 139.5. It's pretty flat down here. It kind of lengthened out, and then there's one part where you go back. You kind of like go down these like um, switchbacks, but they're like super long switchbacks, sort of. And you think that you're almost there, but you're not. At that point, I had started to say, "Hey man, screw it. I don't care how far I am from an aid station. I'm just gonna pretend like there's no aid station. It doesn't exist. No such thing as an aid station. It's impossible." So that helps mentally, because like it's so far, the distance is so ridiculous that like to sit there and be like, "Yo, I think I'm 5 miles away. I think I'm 30." That shit will make you go nuts. So I would recommend this to anybody that runs long race like this. Like, don't think about when the next aid station is. Like, just keep your pace up. I mean, I check it once or twice, maybe probably only once in the middle, just to make sure. Just make sure everything's good and the time. But for the most part, like I wouldn't check that shit unless you're lost, because that will drive you nuts. So I wouldn't even worry about where the aid station is. That's what I was telling Michael. I'm like, hey dude, don't worry about it, man. Dude, it ain't coming. It ain't coming. And so eventually we got to the next one. Jaw's feeling kind of weird. So I guess I was feeling pretty woozy. Maybe I was dehydrated or something. I do remember I was pretty tired. Um, but I didn't like take care. I think I didn't fix the problem immediately, which I should have. I was getting pretty dehydrated, I think, and I didn't fix that problem immediately. I didn't really even recognize it. It was getting into the third night coming up, third night, and so the next section was like freaking windy, so windy, like piercing cold into your wind. And it's flat, and it's almost just like you're going along a road for like ever, like this gravel road for as long as you freaking could possibly think of. Like you're just going and going, you're just following this road, like endless road, pretty much. You're following this road, and after a long, long time, it gets super dark. Um, I turned the wrong way because the sign was pointing left to go like up onto this road and left, and the confidence marker got tucked into the, like one of the markers accidentally got tucked into a bush, and the arrow got bent. So I thought it was telling me to turn and go like kind of behind me at an angle, and that's what I did. And eventually, I ran into this fucking barbed wire fence. There's a barbed wire. I'm like, yo, this is not right. Like, I probably shouldn't go in this. I don't know if it's a cow pasture or what, but and I didn't have my GPS that section because my buddy Michael was charging it because it needed to be charged, and the phone charger needed to be charged halfway through. And I was freaking out because my nose was bleeding pretty bad. I was out of it. My heart was like, it's probably TMI. You could skip ahead 30 seconds if you would like. My stool was pitch black, like blacker than a computer, like a desktop computer, like very black, like black. I'm like, yo, this is fucked. I've never seen like this shit's like charcoal. Like, what is this? So I was yelling. I was like, yo, where am I? Where am I? And I saw there was a light, but there was so many lights, like far off in the distance I was so tired I couldn't think. So I was kind of confused, and I was dehydrated, very confused. But then that light kind of turned my way and was like, hey, what's going on? And I finally got to this dude. I went like a half mile off track. So third time getting lost. And yeah, because I'd sat down. So basically, so I started walking with that guy and his buddy. So me and these three dudes were going down the road, and eventually got to the aid station, and this is where they sat me out because I almost failed. This is where I would say like they almost pulled me out of the race because my heart rate was so high, and I was dehydrated, and I think I was there for like 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, and I was only planning to be there for um I was gonna sleep at the next one, or no, I was gonna sleep at Pole Canyon, which was the one after. But I had to sleep. I had to sleep. They made me sleep pretty much. So it's mile 153. Yep, mile 153. I was there for like 5 6 hours. So maybe like 10 a.m. to like 3 a.m. I think, and got hydrated tons of electrolytes, so many electrolytes because my piss was like yellow. It wasn't red, but it was just dark yellow. Like I needed to drink. My resting heart rate was 124 beats per minute. That's what the machine measured it as. And my clothes got burnt because I fucking got too close to the fire, burned my clothes. I was like, yo, man, this just sucks. I was like, yo, man, I'm getting fired. This fire burned all my clothes off. I got rid of that. So slept, and I got up. I was gonna go. The lady was like, hey, I don't know if you should go. Lay down on some more, and eventually I was like, I'm good. I'm good now. I knew I was good at some point because my heart wasn't doing. It was mainly my heart I was worried about, like the 124 resting heart rate. So once that was set, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I can keep going. Like I wasn't like freaking. Before it was not good, but no, I keep going. So I waited, and then once another runner was also gonna go, we both left together. So that was that was night 3, and it was coming up on day 3. The next section was pretty uneventful. You just follow a road like pretty much forever for like 13, 14 miles. The sun went up, and I remember it was really, really cold that night. That night was freaking cold. But you know, beautiful scenery. I'm sure, like there was this arch, this beautiful arch. And I bet if I wasn't so tired, I would have been like, wow, this is amazing. 'Cause I was doing that anyways. I was like, wow, this is freaking super amazing arch right here. And I was thinking, oh, if I wasn't running, this would probably be even more spectacular. There was like a house. There was like some kind of house or something like in a cave, like built into the wall of like. So you have the cave. There's like this cave thing, like this like rock formation, and there's like a settlement or like house like built inside, like made of the rocks, like built onto the side of the cliff. Past that, 7 miles in. So you get to mile. So I got to mile 166, pretty uneventful. It was day. Let's see. There was one night, 2 nights. Yeah, this is day 4, the 4th day. Yeah, mile 166 or something like yeah, mile 166. And then that aid station, I was feeling real good. I think that sleep and how the aid station made me take care of myself and everything, that really energized me for this next section that was going to be harder. So I put on some warm clothes because I was worried, man. Because you see the hardest part of the course wasn't even until 180 miles in. So what you're approaching is these pair of rocky mountains, southern Rocky Mountains called the La Salles. So you see these mountains, and these mountains. I remember I was telling William, one of the people that was volunteering and helping out at the aid stations. I'm like, dude, that shit looks like it literally looked like National Geographic, like where you see like a video like Charles was ice climbing, and he just decided to push the limits too far on an icy night. His body was found the next morning. Like it was kind of like some like kind of like that's how it looked, like something you see on National Geographic, like don't go there, don't go there. because you see these humongous mountains, like freaking snow, like a lot of snow on top of it, and it's tall too, because all around it is all like hot desert. And it wasn't as hot as it would be in the summer. Definitely not. Definitely not. In the summer, it'd probably be like 110 or something like that. But it's still hot desert. It's pretty warm during the day, um, and dry, very dry. So when you see those mountains, I'm like, hey man, dude, I don't want to die up there in those mountains, dude. Like that shit looks like you see him in person, you're like, yo, like definitely be prepared up there. Like you could mess yourself up on those mountains. So I was kind of freaking out about that. But I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's get it done. Like let's keep going. So kept rocking and rolling and kept going. It was all uphill from this point to the next one. You go up about like from 5,000 feet to 9,000 feet, I think, something like that. And you just climb a lot, climb a lot. My nose wasn't bleeding, so that was good. My nose was not bleeding. That's very helpful. So that means I was worried about that, nose bleeding. I don't want my nose to start bleeding because it started doing that on the last mountain, which I thought was hard, but this one was way harder. Yeah, so the first part I was too warm. I put on too many layers too soon. So I had to take a lot off. I was walking around. I tied up 3 sweatshirts on me, and on my pack there was like 4 layers inside. I was like hauling up this pack up this mountain, fucking running up this thingamajig. I saw a spider, a friggin' tarantula. Saw one. It was a real one. I wasn't hallucinating either. It was a real spider. That sucker was. I didn't poke it or anything, but damn, dude, that shit was big. So you keep going, up, keep going up. Was walking. Vivian was there. Jillian walked next to them for a while. And then eventually keep going. It's like endless climbing up this hill. Power lines. There's some power lines. It's hot. And I think I was starting to get a little bit hallucinate. Like, I don't know. It was like, well, it's hard to explain. It wasn't like hallucinations. It was just like very tired. Like, because now you're going into the fourth night's coming up soon. So I was starting to get into like extreme tired zone. Like, I can't really, yeah, I don't really remember too many like hallucinations, but I do remember being dog tired at this point. Eventually got to 180 miles in, and I saw some antelopes along the path, which was nice. But yeah, 180 miles in, fantastic aid station again. I was getting a little tired of those corn tortillas. I was eating a lot of those, but oh well, fuck it. Yeah, drank some hot cocoa. It was good. Got suited up. I remember I was wired. I was determined. I was trying to get through this, man. I was like, all right, 180 miles. Okay, man. That's 3/4 right there. All right, let's keep going, man. Let's keep going. And I knew I had to keep going because I knew this. The next section is the hardest one of the race. And I knew because the cutoff wasn't too far behind. It was probably like 6 hours or 4. I think it was 4 hours behind. But I knew I was going to be going slow on that section. I was like, yo, man, you better start going, dude. You probably shouldn't sleep, dude. You got to, like, for this section, I want to get through this. Then I'll probably sleep at the next one. But I wanted to make sure I was getting through this one on time because I knew it was going to be hard. It was going to be hard. And I remember I started going and I literally felt like I just need to fucking sleep. So I laid down on the trail and laid down for like probably 5 minutes, got up. I can't really say, I don't know. So, there's been stories people say, oh, they got rejuvenated, but I felt like 1%, maybe for like 5, maybe for like 5 minutes, I felt rejuvenated, but dude, I don't know. Okay, whatever. keep going, and I thought I was on the wrong trail because I was going downhill. I was going down. I knew you had to go up the mountain. They said it was flat for the first 10 miles, 20-mile section, but it wasn't flat. And then there was one runner I ran into. I was worried about him. He was He was kind of out of it. He was like stumbling around and stuff like, "Hey, you know where the trail is? You know where the trail?" He was yelling at me from behind me, like, "Am I on the right trail? Am I on the right trail?" Uh, so I stopped. I tried to make sure he was good. Um, and he was on the right trail. I was worried. I wasn't sure what to do at that point because, like, I don't know. It makes me feel like, should I have helped him? I'm not sure, but because he wasn't like fucked up like real bad, but like he's kind of like on the edge. I did let up a bunch of people know though that I was up ahead, but still, I don't know. That was weird. I knew there was runners coming behind me. It was interesting. It was like one of those edge cases, but oh well, it was getting fucking cold up in those mountains. Yeah. So I got 190 miles in, and I got to this water station. They said the water was gonna be frozen. It wasn't frozen quite yet, but it was cold. Now I was putting all these layers on, putting them on, and man, had to take them off, my gloves off to put my hand on this thing, and it was freezing, man. I had to fill my water pack with cold water. My water pack was starting to freeze once I got up the mountain, but it was good for where it was at because so this is the hardest part of the course right here. So after this water only station, it's night. It's nighttime. It's nighttime. It's probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's getting cold, real cold. Like real like like far below freezing cold. Like like you need full winter gear cold. Um Probably not as cold as Canada, but or maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it was pretty cold, really cold, below freezing. And they put 3,000-foot cliff right there. And I remember I sat down on this cliff because I thought maybe I was so tired. I sat down. I'm like, maybe I just have maybe I'm just having some kind of altitude sickness where I just can't go anymore. Oh no, poor me. But then I'm like, nah, man, I think I'm just out of breath. I was wondering, like, why am I so out of breath? Oh, it's probably altitude sickness. And then some inmate was like, yo, dude, you're not out of breath because altitude sickness. You're out of breath because you're climbing a 3,000-foot cliff. You're supposed to be out of breath. You're supposed to be. That's what I was telling myself. So I'm like, oh, I'm good anyway. Yo, I'm supposed to be out of breath right now. I'm climbing up a three. I'm like shuffling up this cliff, hauling, trying to make this cutoff. And that's how it's supposed to be. So finally, one step at a time, man, I was freaking getting up this thing. I was passing some people. Not that it freaking mattered because we're all towards the back anyways. But just grinding up this thing, man. That one was a grind. I'm like, yo, this is gonna suck. All right, man. Like, you better start getting up there, man, because like, you gotta make the time, dude. So I got up to this top of this thing because I checked my GPX, and like I tried not to, but I tried not to check it, but yeah, I had to check when I was getting, am I at the top of this thing? Am I at the top? And I was pretty close to the top, yeah. So I was pretty much there, but it's not just flat there. You go through some more hills. You go up these hills, and I was getting real delusion. This is where the real hallucinations kind of started, like the real ones, where I didn't know that they were hallucinations. Before I knew they were hallucinations, I was getting real disoriented. I don't even know how I freaking made it to that aid station because I was sitting down and my clothes were getting wet and frozen, and I kept thinking it was like rabbits or something. I don't know how to describe it, but back and forth, kind of like I couldn't really tell what was going on. And I'd get up and I'd keep going, and there's this dude online, Cameron Haynes. I kept thinking he was telling me, like, keep hammering up those hills, son. What are you doing, son? Come on, son. Like, telling me to run up these hills. Every aid marker was like this dude telling me to keep hammering up these hills to see, like, only the most fit hunters can, like, hunt with them, and something like that. I don't even hunt. I don't even shoot guns. I'm thinking this shit. And I'm thinking it's real. Other parts I'm like, oh, uh, like, I must be really good. Like, Courtney Dewater must be a good skier. That's why she won the race. She was a good skier. And now, because she's a lady that ran it last year and beat everybody by like 10 hours. She's a savage. I was thinking, oh yeah, I must be only the best skiers up on this mountain can be the skiers. And just, like, delusional shit, like, just makes no sense. So eventually I'm like, oh, wait a second. Oh, I'm almost there. I'm almost to the space station. Oh, I'm like a mile away. But a mile away, they put another 2,000 foot cliff up this giant cliff. And you're going up this cliff. And this is going to sound freaking nuts, like crazy. I definitely wouldn't think this normally. But it was fourth night in. And I thought that, like, this sounds so weird. Even me saying it, it's just ridiculous. But I thought that, like, this was some kind of alien cult that I was a part of. And, like, I was climbing up this cliff. I was ascending. Because there's a cult, it's called Heaven's Gate. All these people worship some comet, and they all kill themselves in real life. I thought I was part of some weird cult, and I was ascending into their, like, alien, like base or something like that. Like, I was ascending into this super cult of, like, super positive people, like ascending into this super amazing cult. And yeah, come and join us, Kayla. We're going, like, crazy shit. And it didn't help that at the aid station, when I finally got there, there was a big generator. Like, I don't know if it was a heat generator. It was going like, and I'm like, man, this is it, man. I'm going into this alien cult, man. This is it. Shit, like, damn, Candace is freaking. She created an alien hyperspace cult, and I'm about to enter into said cult. All right, man. I was down. I was like, okay, let's do it, man. Like, screw it. And I went in there, and I sat down, and I thought everything was so at that moment, everything was just more. I sat down, like, just dazed. And you can actually see a photo. Maybe I'll link it in here. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna link it. You can see it online on, like, Facebook or Instagram. You can see there's a photo of me at mile 203. So I'm mile 203. I'm dazed. I'm like, I'm all swollen and stuff. All these clothes on. I'm sitting down on the blue, and dude, I was freaking out, man. I was just and that's when I realized, like, holy shit, I was just hallucinating that last 10 miles or 20 miles. Like, I was literally hallucinating all of that shit. Like, all that shit made no sense. Like, I literally just hallucinated, like, everything. Like, that was, like, I could have freaking not, like, that could have been bad, man. Like, that could have been real bad on that mountain. It was cold, and it was just getting it was just getting up to, like, 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that, like, early 4, 5. Like, it was just getting there. And I remember, like, I thought I was messed up. They were like, oh, they were clearing this chair, because they were like, oh, we might need to rush someone. The lady was like, Christina was like, the volunteer. She was like, oh, we might need to rush someone into this chair for hypothermia. Like, rush someone into this chair. Like, what the fuck? Because I'm sitting next to this chair, they're clearing it out. Like, yo, like, maybe somebody needs to get rushed into a chair, get warmed up. That's kind of sketch. I was like, holy shit. And I was pretty out of it too. I was gone. But I ate a sandwich. I forced myself to eat that. My lips were so chapped, man. Oh, it was painful. Like, everything was just, ugh, disgusting. Like, fucking nasty. You see it on some of the photos, just nasty, man. Like it was painful. I couldn't even eat. Like just drinking water hurt. Like I was drinking water, like ow, this was painful to drink water. Like going down the throat, like it was painful. Like everything, like oh that sucked, man. I'm like, all right, I gotta eat the sandwich. I gotta keep eating this sandwich because if I only, make sure I'm getting it in, getting calories in, it's important to succeed. Um, so I'm just like forcing myself to eat this freaking sandwich. And then I drank some hot cocoa and drank a bunch of water. And I had to prove to the aid station, hey, I'm good, I'm good. Hey, look, I'm good, I'm sharp. Because I was dazing. I was kind of dazed. So they didn't know if they should let me out. So I kind of had to be like, all right, I'm here. You got it. All right, see, I can answer all your questions. Because it's not good. If I'm all fucked up, I can't go out there. I had to put myself on right there for a second. And yeah, I kept going. So that was 203 miles in. That was a good aid station right there. It was like a base. I thought it was like a Martian base. That's what I was telling the ladies there. I was like the volunteers. I was like, yo, this thing looks like a Martian base. Like this is a Martian base, man. I thought I was entering into an alien cult, man. This is a base. Yo, check this out. I was saying shit like that. And so I kept going. And 203 miles in, I left. Jillian and I believe, yeah, Gary and Jillian were walking. I was walking with them. They eventually went ahead of me, but I can't remember. There was some kind of complication. I can't remember if it was my feet. What was it? Something was bothering me at this point. I forget. Oh, you had to go. We left like right before the cutoff too, which was kind of crazy. So the sweep, and it was all uphill. Like the first section was like a little bit of it was like straight, like uphill again, which was kind of annoying because I was hoping it would be downhill. And then this section wasn't too bad. I would say it was pretty easy. I don't think it was the easiest, but it was close to one of the easiest ones for sure, definitely. Um, at least physically. Physically, it's probably actually the easiest one physically, but just because like I already ran 203 miles. It's probably worse than what it actually. It probably seemed worse than what it really was. I was so dog tired too. I'm getting in fifth day getting in. Keep going, and I was so thirsty. I had to get water so bad. Some guy just threw water out of his truck at me. Like, all right, dude, whatever. But freaking, you just keep going. You're winding along these roads, so these kick switchbacks. You're back in the desert, hot ass desert again. Going through this desert, it's like 20 mile stretch, pretty long stretch. Uh, and then after what seemed, oh yeah, I remember this part. I think it was Dennis. Was it Dennis Williams? I was walking with somebody. I think it was Dennis and Sarah and Motive. I don't know. That could have been them. I think so. I'll have to check. I'll have to check online. And I was walking with a couple. The woman was a pacer. Pretty sure it's Dennis and Sarah. But yeah, so we were going and it was freaking hot, man. We're all getting tired. Like, oh, where's the aid station? Man, I thought it was right around the corner, dude. No, it's not. Oh man, I needed water too, man. So I got to this next aid station, and as soon as I got to this next aid station, I was like ready to go. It was the last one, mile 200 and mile 223, I think. Let's see here. 223, that makes sense. Well, it's 243-mile run. So minus 10, 233, minus, the last section was 16 miles, minus 5, 228, 227 miles, something like that. And I'm like ready to go, man. I'm ready to go. I want to get this done. I want to get this done. I don't want to be out here in this dark, man. It's starting to get dark. It's gonna get dark soon, like halfway through. I knew, But I knew I had to take care of myself. So every aid station, I did the same thing. Change my socks, put on like magnesium lotion if I had it, put on run goo on both my feet. That's why my feet were so good the whole race. Um, Definitely change my socks and drink a shit ton of water. Like I drank so much water at the aid station. I ate a bunch of food, and what else did I do? Oh, I put chafing stuff and make sure my balls aren't uh, fucked up, whatever you call it, like messed up. And I don't know, I'd already changed my shirt and everything because they were wet from that mountain, that freaking cold mountain, dude. So we were back down some more. We're back down. And then this last section was all, you go uphill for a little bit and you go like almost straight downhill. So yeah, so in my head, I'm like, yeah, man, okay, 16 miles downhill shouldn't be a breeze. It should just be a breeze, like, right? Like 16 miles, I should be good. Wrong. So I was going, and I remember the first thing I thought, because it was going to be fifth night soon, and fifth night, no sleep. The last night I was hallucinating. Now I'm like, I was starting to hallucinate in broad daylight, not even at night, like broad freaking daylight. Like I thought my buddy Ryan Lange, I thought he was with me, and his buddy, some guy named Jackie who doesn't even exist. Some like random dudes were like running with us, and like Jackie, one of them was just going crazy, like spazzing out, hallucinating, and he was out of control. And that guy was like just like weird, and it was like non-stop hallucination starting like 2-3 miles in. But it's daytime, and I was like, oh screw it, man, I gotta run. I was running down this thing. But the thing is, it was downhill, but like it was like technical downhill. And what that means is the more technical it is, the more like rocky it is and less runnable it is. So like a road is not technical at all. You just run along the road. But a bunch of like jagged weird rocks, that's more technical because like you have to like pay attention to where you put your feet so you don't fall. So it was downhill, but it was like rocky downhill. It was easy to trip and fall. So those parts where I did not go, and I remember there's other sections I was running, and then it was starting to get dark, and I remember I was hallucinating, like people were filming me, and this girl was trying to take photos or something of her, and it was weird, man. It was like crazy hallucinations. And this last section was called Porcupine Ridge or Porcupine Rim Trail. Porcupine Rim Trail. That's the name of the trail, and that's the name of the last section. And it was starting to get dark, and every aid station, it, this sounds crazy, but I thought the race director, Candace, I literally thought she was out there at each marker, yellow marker. First started with the porcupines, because I remember I'm like, why are you giving my grandmother a tour of the porcupines? Like, why is she giving tours? And she was giving all these tours, and then my grandmother was going off, and she was giving a tour, and of all the porcupines to be found on Porcupine Rim. And by the way, there's no porcupines on Porcupine Rim. It's just a freaking rim with desert. It's not porcupines. But in my head, I'm like, oh, there's porcupines. Oh, look at this porcupine. Oh, I was hearing like, yeah, look at the porcupine. Oh, yeah, this porcupine does this. You do this. If you're a faster runner, go over here, and this is the porcupine trail you take. If you do this one, you're slower. Go over here. There's the porcupines over here. Porcupines. Hey, porcupine. And then it just kept going. It started morphing. It was starting to get pretty freaky. Like each freaking marker, you're like, oh yeah, you hear about the Colorado River? Oh yeah, the Colorado River. Oh yeah, there's tons of flash floods. Don't you hear about the flash floods? Yeah, it's very dangerous. You can't. Oh, this is how you prepare for the flash floods. You got to do this and zip up this and that. And it's weird because I thought this shit was real. I thought this was really happening until like the very last moment, or until I got to the finish line. I'm like, yo, this is for real. Like I really thought she was at each marker telling me about like these freaking flash floods warnings and stuff. And after a while, I'm like, all right, I get it. Flash floods. I remember I was saying that out loud, yeah, flash floods. All right, Candace, it's fine. It's flash floods. Oh, it's fine. Oh, like just crazy stuff. And by the way, she's actually super cool and amazing. So like, she's not like super annoying like that in real life. But in my mind, in that moment, I was like, damn, like, why is she fucking telling me about all these porcupines and flash floods? I'm like, oh, I guess it's for the safety. All right, I'll go along with it. It's for the safety. All right, safety. And eventually, it started to get real bad where it's almost like reality starts to like dissociate on you. And this is where I started to lose kind of track of where the trail was because it was dark, real dark, and I was following it. And I remember I was hearing that Cameron Haynes dude, like this redneck guy, just like saying something about a bear hunt and how to freaking load up for this hunt. And like, yeah, this is how you load up, man. And like, oh yeah, man, if we take an ATV on this trail, we'll get there in 5 minutes, son. And I was like, and it's hard to explain. It's almost like like reality was like falling apart, like like my mental state was like falling, like it was like not right, like it was like serious, like weird mental state, like not coherent here, I guess. But I was still seeing the markers, and I was thinking there was like this grandmother behind me, and this person was behind me, and I was going, and it was just it was just mentally like just oh wow, like God, yeah, I don't even want to talk about it, man. It was Jesus, man. Like, pardon my language for religious folk out there. My apologies. Uh, but geez, man, like, I just did it again. Whatever, fuck it, whatever. Uh, it was yeah, it was. Oh, man. Just thinking about it now, I'm like, yeah, I was out of it. And at one point, I lost part. I had lost. So I was actually on the right trail the whole time, but I thought that I was lost. Cause I wasn't seeing these markers, wasn't seeing these trail marks. And to be fair, to be honest, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I do think they should have marked that part better. I do think they should have marked Porcupine Rim better. But I'll leave the opinions to more experienced ultra runners, just because like maybe it was marked right. I think there was not enough markers there. But aside from that, like it was I I was just out of it. Like I thought I was lost. I thought I was like lost on this mountain. I checked my GPS, but my phone was about to die. And then I thought I had a charger, but it wasn't charged. It wasn't charged at all. And eventually my phone fucking. I felt I thought because like basically there was like an old map and then like a new map, and they were both. I uploaded them both, and they were both overlaid onto each other. So some of them like I was hard for me to like when I was looking at the map, I couldn't tell like if I was on the right trail or if I was on the like a different trail. Like just for some reason, I'm not sure if it was just me or the actual map, but I couldn't tell which of the two lines I was supposed to be on the map on my phone, and because my phone had the GPS, and yeah, I was getting real fucking scared out there on that mountain, and I was actually on the right trail, but I wandered off from the right trail because I thought I was lost. I was trying to correct myself. And I started yelling. I was like, "Oh, $1,000 for a cab, man! $1,000 for a fucking cab! Get me off this mountain, man! What the hell, man? Yo, man, this is shit. What am I like?" Just freaking out. And I was actually yelling at a bunch of reflectors, like off in the distance. They weren't actual runners. Maybe they were. Who knows? But I don't think they were. And eventually, I started. I just was like, I just kind of like. I think I almost gave up. I almost gave up. Really, it was sad. And it's funny because in my mind, I'm like, oh, fuck it. I gotta just emergency pull out my sleeping baby and emergency sleep right here. And figured, oh, what if I just lay down? And then I laid down, closed my eyes just as I was thinking about falling asleep. I just got the fuck up, man. I was like, you know what, man? All right, dude. Because I was looking down these it was in cliffs. And these cliffs, I was going up to these rocks, and I'm like, oh, I might just try to get that. Because I saw there was a road in the distance. And it turns out that was actually the right road. but I figured at that moment I thought, oh, I just need to get to safety. And but down the cliff was like, yo, you can't fucking go down this cliff. Like this cliff is like, if you go down, there's like a fucking 13-foot drop off of each ledge. So I'm like, but I was like, all right, man, all right, dude, all right, we gotta get there somehow, man. So I went down. I went down through like one of the holes, and I finally got in through one of these holes and squeezed my way through because like it was like a rock pinned up against the cliff, and there was like a thing you could go under. Like, oh shit! And my mom like, oh, it's probably fucking bears and shit. I was seeing a bear over there. I didn't know if it was real or not, but it probably was completely not real. Definitely wasn't real. Probably if I had to bet money, I'd probably bet $1,000 it wasn't real. But thought I saw one. And eventually, I'm like, oh, I gotta avoid the bear, just out of it. And I finally got down, and I got to this road, and I'm like stumbling on this road, like, holy shit, I can still make it. Cause I was lost for like probably 2 hours. If you look on the GPS, I was going in triangles around the same spot. I was literally going in triangles. And I knew those sweepers would probably come at some point. The race would be over. I'd be pulled out. And this was fifth night, and I remember I ran up onto this campground. I was right there, and this older dude. This is real. This is not a hallucination. I'm like, hey man, how far till Moab? And he told me 5 miles. I really think it was probably like 3. He's like, no more than 5 miles. I really think it's probably like 3.5 or whatever. It's some 3 miles, something like that. And I'm like, yo man, what time is it? 10. And he told me it was 10:08. I'm like, all right, I'm going. And as I started going, I started hauling because I asked some guy. So the cutoff had been extended by an hour. So the cutoff was midnight, but it was actually, I thought that it was still 11 because some guys were like, oh, you're almost there. And I'm like, oh yeah, when's I don't know how, I don't remember exactly what I said, but for some reason they had told me that the cutoff was at 11 p.m. Not what I thought it was, which was midnight. So but it was really midnight. But like I thought the cutoff was an hour earlier. So I thought I only had like 50 something minutes to go these miles. So I just started hauling. I fucking was running through this thing, man. I'm like, yo, all right. And so that was the fourth time I got lost, but a fifth time I got lost again because I crossed a bridge. I crossed this bridge and I ran. I'm like, oh, I thought it was wrong. And then I ran across the bridge again. And then, oh, I saw these headlamps. And I ran across the bridge again because I thought people were yelling for me. And I ran across the bridge again. So I ran back and forth across this bridge 4 times. Fucking 4 times to get to. And then I finally went down. I'm like, oh, and then I found the right way. And then I ran. And then I was running. And I was fucking hauling, dude. And at this point, I was on the road. I seen the gas station. Seen all these campgrounds. And then eventually, I ran around this corner and there was Moab, and oh my word, I was running across this thing. Damn, man, it was a feeling of accomplishment. It was really sweet. It was awesome. 10:45 p.m. So if it was at 11, it would have been 15-minute cutoff away from cutoff, but actually it was hour 15 minutes in early. But yeah, so there's still like 4 people coming in, but or 3 or 4, something like that. But that was the end, and yeah, that was wild. It felt really good. I was really tired though. I was really out. I could barely fucking walk, man. I was dead. My face was inflamed, my nose, my lips. I couldn't even breathe. I remember, thank God, I don't know whose cabin it was, but thank you so much for letting me sleep in that cabin because somebody let me sleep in this cabin, have this room. Because I was gonna sleep on the fucking ground in my like tent or some shit, but this person hooked it up. I had a bed. Um, yeah, sweet. It was amazing seeing everybody at the finish line and talking, And it's like everybody wins, man. Like you run 2 or 3 miles, the people like everybody's a winner in this thing, dude. Like it's not like some little kid thing like, oh yeah, yeah, you're just everybody's a winner, yeah. Like nah, man, you're a fucking winner, dude. Like because it's not like it's hard enough just to do that, in the first place. I was the youngest finisher that year. That was great. I did have one more hallucination I wanted to share with you. And it was actually after I was laying in my bed trying to fall asleep, and it's a wooden cabin. But for some reason, and I was still, so I was still, or in whatever position, still. So I was thinking, oh, I'm on the trails. I'm sleeping on the trails, or something like that. I'm still on the trails. And I thought I was still on the trails in the race for some reason when I got laid down. After the, smiling and talking to everybody and, hey, and doing all that, I like hobbled like fucking legit old man, like 99-year-old man hobbled over this cabin, laid down. I thought I was still on the trails when I was trying to fall asleep. And I thought, and I was still because I was laying down trying to fall asleep. So I thought I was frozen. I thought I was frozen in time, and this is kind of wacky. Maybe it's just my brain, just because I'm an electrical engineer, so I do a lot of like physics, math stuff. I thought that I was frozen in time, but and I was in the universe very parallel to our own, but there was one how do you say it? Infinitesimally small difference, like a one little quantum particle or one little quantum fluctuation, one vibration, one particle off, one infinitely small difference between this universe and our own. I was frozen as the rest of the universe was going, and I would have to wait, frozen in time, for every single possible quantum fluctuation of every single permutation of any kind of universe ever to be ever created. I have to wait for every single one of those permutations to play out. And then, eventually, our exact universe would be recreated, and that infinitesimally small difference would be corrected in that new permutation. And then I would become unfrozen. So that means I would literally have to wait for like billions to the power of billions to the power of billions to the power of all that number over again to the power of infinitely billions of times. Like got like so many years, like infinite, pretty much infinite, an infinite amount of time, but basically near infinite, just to become unfrozen. But then I turned on the lights because I was like, oh shit, oh shit, and like I turned on the lights and I'm like, oh fuck, and then I went to sleep. So, and I remember my face was so red. I probably looked like a zombie, man. I was fucked up. My lips were just destroyed. Ugh. But yeah, I woke up the next day. I couldn't really. There was some people I wanted to talk to. I wanted to meet some more of the community. I did meet a lot of cool people. I wanted to talk more, but I was just so dead tired. There was no way that I could possibly. I don't know. Like I was literally physically limited. But yeah, so the next day we all had kumbaya. It was fun. This dude that was not part of the race, he was not part of Destination Trail, not part of just some random guy. This dude almost ran me over with a truck and almost like punched one of the camera guys, like for real. Was like, hey man, what are you like? Because the guy went up, me and one of the not the camera guy, not Scott or Howie, but there was I'm not sure what his name was, but black haired guy. He was a video guy, and asked him about, like, hey man, what's going on? Because this dude almost ran me over the truck. So that, luckily that situation was diffused. But damn, dude, like that was not cool. That was not cool at all. And, oh well, I couldn't even sweat it even if I wanted to because I was like so dead. Anyways, a little blimp in a amazing, fantastic experience that I recommend for I can't say everyone, but people that are looking for a challenge. get after it and stuff. But so amazing. I heard about it from, I was watching Courtney Water and Cameron Haynes and David Goggins and watching those guys on Joe Rogan, and I'm like, hey man, wait a second, I could sign up for this race. What am I waiting for? Like, this isn't like some, there's certain things like, you want to be Dan Bilzerian or something, right? Or some world class scientist, like I'm trying to be. Like, it's like it takes a long period of time, and it takes a long period of time for this too. But like, you can sign up for these races. Like, it's not like you can, like, other things take like a while. Like, oh yeah, you're not gonna make $1 million. You're probably not gonna make $1 million like overnight. You're not gonna run 100 miles overnight, but like, you can try to make $1 million, but eventually there's a chance that you might not make it. If you try to run 100 miles, you probably, I don't want to speak for everyone, but like, if you're a healthy person, you can probably run 100 miles. Like, if you trained for it a lot. Um, and Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I ate gluten for the first time on the plane, for the first time in like 2 years. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm so hungry right now because the plane was delayed. I'm like, I'm just gonna eat a freaking pizza, dude. It wasn't even that good, honestly. It was not really that good. Yeah, yeah, I felt like shit afterwards, but it was worth it. I don't know. It was worth it versus being hungry. I'll tell you that. First time eating gluten in 2 years. Probably won't do it for a while, but yeah, so fantastic. Thank you for listening. I'm gonna put timestamps in this, so some people probably won't listen to like the whole thing, but or a lot of people probably won't. Probably will skip around. Put timestamps in it, and yeah, I plan on doing Bigfoot. Not committed to it yet, but I want to do Bigfoot 205 mile endurance run. So peace out. Moab 240 mile endurance run race report.